Welcome to day 5 of my 2025 Norwegian Prima Cruise. Now, this day was extremely exciting for me because we were visiting Harvest Caye, which, if you know, is one of my absolute favorite destinations to go to when I'm on a cruise. Harvest Caye is NCL's private destination in Belize, meaning only NCL guests get to visit. And an even bigger bonus to this is that we were the only cruise ship who was on this island. And while most cruise ships that visit Belize have to tender, meaning you have to take a little boat that moves away from the ship and goes to this destination, that is not the case with Harvest Caye. There is a long pier, which is about a 5 to 6 minute walk for average walkers, or a 2 to 3 minute shuttle ride if you'd rather take the shuttle instead. I personally think Harvest Caye is just stunningly beautiful. The only downside to this place is that it is not included with your cruise fare, meaning if you want to buy anything on the island, food or drink, you're going to have to bring a credit card or cash. But for me, this price is well worth it because this space is stunningly gorgeous. The pool area is absolutely huge. And I must say it does feel quite exclusive when you visit. Because the pool is so large and because the beach space is so ample, this basically leaves you feeling like you're not neck and neck with other passengers. People are free to kind of spread out and take up space without, being in each other's space. And I honestly don't think there's enough things that can be said about that, especially as cruising has become more and more popular. And a lot of the popular beach spots that a lot of people love are now becoming, in my opinion, very overcrowded. At Harvest Caye, there are plenty of chairs to sit in. There are plenty of beach loungers. There's not this overwhelming feeling that if you don't grab a particular spot, you're going to lose it by somebody else who is competing. There's quite literally room for everybody. And I think that there's just not enough spaces like this anymore. And so that's why I particularly treasure it. Now, we spent several hours here, and although it was very, very sunny when we first got there, it did become quite overcast at the end. Now, because food does cost extra on Harvest Caye, we decided to basically just stick to drinking. And after several hours, we became very hungry, so we were eager to get back on the ship by the end of the day. We ported in Harvest Caye at 7 a.m., and it was all aboard by 3 p.m. So we were back on the ship by 1 and super hungry and in search of good food. And where else would we go but to Indulge? Now, I've already sung the praises of Indulge, but I honestly can't sing them enough because I think that buffets should be done away with. And everybody should move to this system. Now, we had an early morning, so we decided to go back to our cabins and just relax before meeting up at the Met Bar and then going to Hudson's for dinner. Now, I'm not going to lie, we were super tired because we had a really good time at Harvest Caye. So it was really hard for some of us, mainly me, to stay awake through dinner. And so I thought, in order to kind of jazz things up, that I would go ahead and order from the Cagney's menu. This cocktail shrimp was absolutely wonderful, and this lobster bisque was pretty exceptional as well. I ended up getting a filet mignon, and I love that you can order from Cagney's while eating in the main dining room with the rest of your dining party. We watched this gorgeous, gorgeous sunset, and by this point, I was just really struggling to make it through dinner. This was the tiramisu, which was incredible. Loved it. It was very, very good. Now, I had to throw in this footage of my sweetie very animatedly telling me about an incident in which he met up with a group of swingers, unintentionally so. I want to point out that there was zero judgment in this. It was more of a wrong time, wrong place kind of situation that was actually quite comical. Now, we made our way up to deck 18 where we decided we were going to play some mini putt, only to find out that it was broken. But the NCL staff were nice enough to let us play anyway. We weren't able to do any of the fancy stuff or keep score, but it was still a really good time. Now, my sweetie is actually very good at darts, and so we decided we were going to play darts. And by we, I mean I was going to watch them play because I am a notoriously bad dart player and am more likely to injure myself or someone else. So I sat back and watched my good friend Johnny play, as well as my bestie, my brother-in-law, and my husband, and they had a great time. Now, I want to point out that this was an additional charge. It was $10 for 30 minutes, and that's for all the players. But in my opinion, was very well worth it. We checked out where the go-karts were before we moved over to this stadium area where guests can play pickleball, beer pong, or in this particular case, some sort of weird table soccer, which my bestie and I did have a lot of fun playing. Now, I'm not going to lie, by the time we were ready to see Bossa Nova Beat, I was so exhausted. I was barely staying awake. But I have to tell you, it was a really, really good show. So far, I've just had the most amazing cruise ever, truly.